What's going on, everybody? My name is Jarek Rubel. I'm one half of Royal Bettors, and I'm here solo today. Jake's away at his brother's bowling meet. He had to take him there, so no problem with that. I'm going to be solo for today, breaking down Saturday's NHL card. Yesterday, we had a 2-0 day. We catched the Avalanche in the first period, minus half a goal, plus 155, and Cale Makar to score anytime, plus 310, 2-0 sweep. Again, you'd have to follow me on Twitter at Jarek_Rubel11 or at Royal Bettors to have gotten that because we were not live yesterday. It was a 2-game slate, so we decided not to hop on early in the morning for that one. But we are back. I am back here today, 12:30 Central Time. We're going to break down the Saturday card. We're going to kick things off here with the day game, one of the day games, Carolina and LA. Carolina minus 160, LA plus 135. Over under 5.5, shaded to the under. Carolina's won 4 out of their last 5 versus LA. All of them they've covered the minus 1.5. Now they get another X factor here on their team into the mix, and that's Frederik Andersen. Now, Freddie Andersen, he's 8-3 or 8-1-3 against the Kings, with a 2.01 goals against average. And he's also 59, 19, and 16 against the Pacific Division with a 2.11 goals against. And a lot of that's from his time with Anaheim, I'm sure. And that was such a defensively stout team, but still. So good numbers here, backing my man Fredward. Nick says running solo again. I am running solo again. I am going to ask you guys to come on here soon because I just want to kind of get some solo shows under my belt here. I haven't really done many. This is probably like my third, and it's all been this. Even like when I would do my injured reserve show with my buddy Kendall and Jack, like it was always at least 2 or 3 of us there. So it's just kind of nice to go solo for a little bit and try and get a little more comfortable. You feel? Nothing against you guys. I do want to have you guys on. Even when Jake's here, I plan on trying to ask you guys on. There's still plenty of hockey left in the season. We're only like 40 days in. So, and then Jake, he says, yeah, I'm at a bowling tournament. It's all good. It happens. Family comes first. I don't blame you. But back to Carolina and LA. So the good numbers backing Frederik Andersen and Carolina's history here versus the Kings as of late. I mean, they're 13-2, guys. Like, I mean, they're just rolling. The Kings have had good history during day games. I'm not going to ignore that, but I still like the Canes. And Freddie Andersen, they're going to keep it going. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Canes here in regulation, plus 100. I mean, even with the numbers, it could end up being like a 5-3 game just because I know the Kings do show up in day games, but I'm just not interested in getting away at Carolina here, especially because Freddie Andersen just beats this team time and time again. So, and again, it was with this time with the Ducks, but the Kings were good in that time he was with the Ducks. So I'm not going to, say that was a bad Kings team he went up against. Jake chimes in. He says, one of my favorite bets. I bet it early 2 days ago with Canes ML in a parlay and Canes in regulation plus 110. Love it. Nick says he leans under 5.5. So that's Carolina and LA. I'm on the Canes in regulation. Jake likes that as well when he put the money line in a parlay. And our buddy Nick's leaning under. So we got some information coming in here. New Jersey and Tampa Bay now. New Jersey plus 180 here on the road. Tampa Bay minus 220 at home. Over under 6 shaded to the under. All signs point to Tampa Bay in this one, right? The Devils have lost 8 straight Saturday day games. Tampa's won 6 straight daytime first periods. I have no interest in this game, though, because no matter how good the stats look in favor or against Tampa Bay, I've gotten them wrong, I think, every time but once this season. Like, I'm just going to end up staying off that game for that exact reason. Like, I have no luck with it, and I'm not going to end up like, I have a good feeling about this card today, but, if I had to bet it, I'd probably go Tampa Bay first period with Tampa Bay in regulation, but just because they've screwed me over once too many times this season, I'm just not going to touch this game. Yeah, Nick says easy pass on Tampa Bay. Yeah, this game just, I don't know. Like, I think Tampa's going to win it, but I'm not going to bet it. 1, because I'm always seem to be wrong, but 2, like, New Jersey, just, I don't know. And Jake also passing. Yeah, this game just feels ugly. Something about it. So we'll carry on here to the evening slate. Chugging along. Minnesota and Florida. We're moving along quick here. That seems to be my pace. Minnesota plus 130. Florida minus 150. Over under 6 shaded to the under. This is going to be a great game. Like 2 top echelon teams here on a Saturday night. Recently, both have beat up on each other in their history. I mean, Last time we thought this was going to be like a big, fun Panthers game to watch on a Saturday. They put up 4 in the first period against Carolina. So I don't think that happens tonight against Minnesota, but I am going to lean towards Florida because Bob's numbers against Minnesota are great. He's 10-3-1 with a 1.97 goals against average in his career. So I do lean towards the Cats, but I don't have anything official on it whatsoever. I wouldn't be surprised if this one got to OT though, because the way these two teams play, it could go way over and get to OT. Like this could be 4-4 written all over it. Nick, he says lean Florida in regulation and puck line, but pass. Yeah, I mean you kept the numbers, and you can't help but want to say that one. But I mean I don't want to get in the way of this Minnesota team either, because they have played really damn good these last few games. That San Jose game was just kind of like I don't even know, one off. So yeah, pass for me on Minnesota, Florida. I do lean Florida here. If I had to bet it, I'd probably just put the money line in a parlay. I don't know if I'd even want to touch the regulation line. But this next game here, Nashville and Montreal. Of course, I gotta look for this stupid thing. Nashville minus 125, Montreal plus 100 here at home. Over under 5.5 shaded to the under. Now, I love the Preds so much here in this game, and I hope they don't fall on their face. Like, Montreal sucks. Like, they're really, really bad. Like, they're close to Arizona bad. Like, Terry and I were talking about this in a group chat. I, I, the way they lose is just worse than the Yotes. It really is. I like Nashville here minus 1.5 plus 225, but I'm also gonna. It's a massive price. Like I couldn't pass up on it. But I'm also gonna put some on their money line too, minus 110. I mean, the Preds have owned the Habs recently here, winning 5 straight against them, 8 out of their last 10 against them. Montreal, they can't score either. I mean, every time they've lost, they've scored 2 or less. I mean, maybe I'd look towards the team total under here too, but I already got 2 plays on it, so I'll just leave it at that. I mean, they're up for a challenge against UC Saros. Allen's not playing for the Habs. He's still dealing with a concussion. I think this is a slam dunk spot here for the Preds, if you ask me. And Jake's chiming in here with the Florida. He says Florida money line in a parlay, and Florida tie no bet first period in a parlay, and the 3-leg first period tie no bet. I'm sure he'll give us the rest of that as we get through. And he thinks it's a good spot for the Preds, definitely. Montreal team total under 2.5 would be a lean, and may add it to my card. I mean, yeah, I haven't even looked at the price on that. I mean, I might add it too. Why not? Because it makes. I mean, but if they win, that's the thing. Because if they win, they're gonna score 3. So I don't like. I'd rather just minimize my losses if something were to go wrong. But yeah, I love this spot for Nashville here. I mean, Montreal, if you look at it, Arizona goes way under. I mean, they don't score goals at all. Like, they'll get shut out. But, like, they're not getting puck lined the way that Montreal is. I mean, like, Arizona's starting to cover here as of late. Like, Montreal is just brutal, man. They really, really are. I mean, especially with Montembeault, I believe, is going to get the start in that tonight. So, I mean, yeah, this is a spot Nashville's got to just destroy him in. Like 4-1. I wouldn't be surprised if he got under. Pittsburgh, Toronto here. Pittsburgh, let's find out. It went out of order on me. That's fun. So Pittsburgh plus 140, Toronto minus 160, over under 5.5, shaded to the over. I do believe in revenge spots, and this is it right here. Leafs got walloped 7-1 in Pittsburgh earlier in the year. Now they get the Pens on home ice in a hockey night in Canada. This is a spot where the Leafs have just thrived in their recent history. They've won their last 9. They're looking to make it 10 straight at home on hockey night in Canada. Excuse me. I think it's the perfect spot to do so. Pens put up 46 shots in Buffalo. They got stymied by Tokarski. Sorry, excuse me. And then they put up 6 in Montreal. And now you give them a good matchup against, well, the Leafs, in my opinion, a good matchup with Jack Campbell, an all-star goalie, against, this Pens team that has just put everything on net here as of late. I think this is a spot where the Leafs are just going to come out and absolutely dominate. I think this could be a big dud here for the Penguins. Give me the Leafs here on the money line, though, just because they don't score enough goals to where I'd be worried that it could end up, bogusly getting to OT and kill a regulation bet. So I'm going to add it here, the money line in a parlay with a game that I'll talk about here shortly. So that's the plan for this one. And Jake's also on the same exact thing. He says Leafs money line in a parlay. The regulation line's scary because they just don't score enough. So that's that. Calgary and the New York Islanders, who are finally at home. It's been a long month and a half for them, but they finally made it. I believe it's called UBS Arena. And I'm gonna tune into this game. I haven't even seen any photos of what this thing looks like, what it's gonna entail. I'm curious what a game's gonna look like on TV. But I'm not gonna bet it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna bet it. Brand new Fort Never Lose. I mean, that's what I'm gonna call it. The first period under trends have been dead here for the Isles. I don't feel comfortable backing it in this one. The Flames always seem to strike early here. There's no Anders Lee for the Isles. He's been dealing with COVID. I would not be surprised if the Flames play spoiler here, even though I'm sure this is a game the Isles are up for. I mean, Barry Trotz is behind the bench. Like, he's going to make sure they're ready. I mean, like, everybody has to be thinking about tomorrow, right? When the Leafs come to town, like, Tavares coming back into the building, like, it's going to be loud and raucous in that building. I'll pass on this game tonight, but I'm definitely going to be on the Islanders tomorrow. Nick says, Islanders at home, give me the Isles money line. Normally I'd be with you, but I'll let it play out a little bit, even though I just said I'm going to be on them tomorrow. Jake likes the first period over in this one. An Isles money line. Yeah, I think the first period over honestly makes sense because Calgary always seems to score early, and I'm sure the Isles are going to absolutely be ready to play at home and come out early. The barn will still be loud. I expect fans to show up and be ready for this one, but I just think tomorrow's going to be like the diehard fans are probably like, hey, let's go to this game, not the opener. Let's go to this game. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that'll hopefully play out tomorrow. And people hate the Islander fans for giving it to Tavares. I don't know. I kind of like it. I think it's funny. It gives you something to tune in for because not many regular season games do you get a building that's that crazy in the NHL. You know, like Nashville and Vegas get that loud, but like that Islander building gets crazy loud when, I mean, even in the regular season, I believe they like a win streak going and they just started going crazy. So I mean, yeah, I'm definitely in on the Islanders tomorrow. Time to find where Boston and Philly is here on this. Found it. Boston is minus 135 here on the road. Philly plus 115 at home. Over under 5.5 shaded over. This is just a game when I was handicapping it. I couldn't find anything that looks like it's worth betting on to me. Like all I could give you is like the top line players for each team to probably come in on the score sheet. Boston hasn't played since last Sunday. That's either going to help them tremendously or they're going to fall flat on their face and not have their legs. I lean a Marchand goal. If anything, he's been the one producing a boatload for him here as of late. I mean, it's a marquee matchup with two good teams, but just nothing really strikes me here betting wise. I'm sorry. Jake over here, Boston money line, but not betting it. Nick pass on Boston. Yeah, this game just nothing really here is that interesting. Like, I don't know. Everything seems ugly if you ask me. This next game, though, I'm going to keep it straightforward. Blues plus 1.5 here, minus 225. I don't care. It's a lock. It's going in that parlay with the Toronto Maple Leafs. The rest of the line, plus 100 money line. Dallas minus 115. Over under 5.5, shaded over. But yeah, I'm going to add that plus 1.5 here on the parlay with the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Blues have hit this in the last 5 meetings here with Dallas, and Dallas is home faves. They're just no bueno for me. I will not touch Dallas at home as of right now, even though they puck lined Philly and Detroit. I have no interest, especially the way the Blues have played them historically. Neither team is exactly playing strong hockey right now. I could see this getting over the 5.5 total, but I'm just going to keep this Blues plus 1.5. Dallas can't string together good games at home. I mean, maybe even the draw, but I'm not going to bet it. Nick's passing on this game. So is Jake. But I'm going to add that plus 1.5 here in the parlay with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that'll add up to plus 120 on the money line. And yeah, so now we'll get into the later games here on the West Coast, Detroit and Arizona. Detroit minus 150, Arizona plus 130. Over under 5.5, shaded to the under. Honestly, I think the Yotes make sense in this one, but in no shape, way, or form am I going to bet it. Wings, they've been god awful on this road trip. I mean, the Yotes are scored a little bit here over their last 5 games. The Wings have given up 5 goals in their last 3 games, in each of their last 3 games. I mean, probably over, even though it's plus money. I mean, this game has shit show written all over it, if you ask me. Like, it's going to be a pass for me, but I'm going to honestly lean Arizona, but I can't bet it. Like, I just can't. But I wouldn't say fade Arizona just because it's Arizona. I don't think that's a bright strategy in this game. I mean, Detroit has not played good hockey. I mean, but I was watching the Ice Guys earlier, and Ian Cameron brought up a good point that they had this spot against a really bad team earlier in the season. It was, I believe, the 4th game of a road trip. They had lost their first 3 on, and then it was against Buffalo, and they ended up beating Buffalo. So this is basically the exact same spot, but I'm not going to bet it. I do lean Arizona, though. I'll give you guys that, but It's going to be a pass for me. Nick is on the Yotes. He says Arizona money line plus 129. Yeah, probably the worst value you're going to get on him all year, but I don't blame you for hopping on him. Jake's passing on this. He maybe will go with the under. So that's what we're all looking towards in this one. Chicago and Edmonton. Oh, baby. Chicago plus 175. Edmonton minus 215 at home. Over under 6.5 shaded to the under. Am I ballsy? Maybe I shouldn't do this, but I mean, I'm going to be, a little ballsy here. The Hawks have scored first now in 8 of their last 10 games. 8 of their last 10. Keep in mind, this is a team that broke the record for never leading in a game to start the season. I forget the exact time, but ever since then, I mean, they've scored first in a ton of their games, 8 of their last 10. The Oilers have surrendered the first goal in 7 straight games. They're without Nurse and Cuckoo now on defense. Keith is moving up to the top pairing. I think Edmonton could be reeling here early on. I like the Blackhawks to score the first goal plus 140. Blackhawks first period unders now. Like, they're 4-0 under Derek King, but I don't feel comfortable backing here in this spot because there is a lot of firepower involved. I do think they score the first goal, and with that being said, I'm going to take a stab at them on the first period puck line, minus half a goal, plus 310. 310. The Hawks are playing inspired hockey right now, especially DeBrincat, the way that man's been playing. I mean, that fight was awesome. I mean, ever since the comments with all the sexual assault stuff, I mean, he seems like he's just showing up as a leader night in, night out. Kane's calling him a superstar. Hagel's back in lineup tonight. Lank's going to be in net. People are overreacting to the Lankinen news. Y'all could kiss my back end. He's been good all year, even though his numbers don't suggest it. That's the Hawks team on the road in front of them. I don't care what you guys have to say. They've been straight under since Derek King's taken over as head coach. All those goaltending numbers you could throw out the window for the moment because that was all under Jeremy Colleton. I think they start real strong. We'll see after that because they have struggled lately in the third periods. And, I mean, the way this Oilers team never gives up, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden we surrender just a goal lead or a 2-goal lead in the third period and they give 20, 25 shots on us. That's how I kind of see this game playing out. I like the Hawks early, but I'm not going to lie bet Edmonton because F that. Because I obviously want the Hawks to win. And I really do think they're live dogs in this game. But just from what I've seen, that Pittsburgh game kind of worried me. Last time out against Seattle, they came on at the very end. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Edmonton gives one last hurrah before the game ends. Hawks plus 1.5 in ML for Nick. Let's go. Jake, we know this. Chicago, he's got too much. It's on his Twitter. First period money line over first period. Seth Jones point, Kane 2 points to break it anytime. We will get to those here in the prop segment later on. He's all over the Hawks. He says, yup, this game has to go over. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it does. Skinner, and then, I mean, I don't care who's in net for the Hawks. I mean, the way I see Edmonton getting 3 no matter what, but I do think the Hawks are going to show up tonight. I really do. This is a game I think they're ready for. This is their first big test, and they never won a big game under Jeremy Colleton. I mean, ever. All the big game, must-win games they won were against teams. This is a real test tonight, and I think that they're going to be ready. I hope Tay shows up tonight, to be honest, because this man has been invisible all year. And it would be so nice if finally in a big game he shows up. Give him the winning goal. That would just make me feel so whole. But yeah, give me the Hawks first goal plus 140. Hawks in the first period plus 310. Let's go Hawks, baby. Except, I really hope Edmonton doesn't screw me over. They're not going to screw me over at the end. They'll just make me sad. Jake chimes in here, plus 2, what am I saying? Team total over 2.5, plus 100 against Skinner. Come on. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to have 2 good games in a row, can he? I mean, we faded him last game, and that didn't pay off. But new day, new Skinner, or same Skinner. Hopefully, that was the once-in-a-lifetime Skinner last time against Edmonton. All right, 2 games left here to talk about. Man, I'm so excited for this Hawks game. I really am. I probably won't even watch these next 2 games I'm going to talk about, even though I have a bet on the last one we'll talk about. But this one, Columbus and Vegas here. Columbus plus 130 on the road. Vegas minus 150 at home. Over under 5.5 shaded to the over. Truthfully, I want to go over 5.5 here. And I wasn't going to think twice about it the way these teams are playing. Until I realized they just never, ever go over when they play each other, these 2 teams. It's going to be a pass for me because I had the same thought with Nashville and Vancouver. those teams were just going dead under night after night after night. But the series history suggested that it goes over game after game after game when they play. And they barely went over the 5.5 total. It finished 4-2. So I'm happy I didn't end up touching that one. So this is just the same feel for me here. That was same with Columbus at Arizona. When Seattle was plus money, they ended up not winning that game. I mean, Columbus, I believe, ended up winning that game, but I mean, this is a spot I want to stay away from. I mean, first period over, maybe I jump in live, but to be honest, I'm not going to really be watching this game, so I don't think I'm going to end up jumping in on a live bet. I might have it on if the other games are over, but yeah, this is the game. It may be the first period over if 5 minutes go by and it's plus money, because I think we could get some goals pretty quickly, but other than that, it'll end up being an overall pass for me. Jake, Vegas tie no bet first period. That's going in on the parlay. You'll love to see it. Was the Hawks part of yours, by the way? I was going to ask that. The third part of that, because you said it was a 3-legger. Nick's on the Vegas money line. Love to see it. I honestly probably lean Vegas too. Columbus has not looked good whatsoever. One last game to talk about here before we get to props and DFS. Washington and San Jose. Washington minus 125. San Jose plus 105. Over under 5.5 shaded over. I'm on the Caps here. Sharks coming off a lengthy road trip. We saw them put up a stinker against an awful Habs team. We're going to see Aiden Hill in that. I mean, he's been brutal. I think the Caps are due for an explosion here, but I am just going to grab their money line here at a short price. They have not been scoring too much here on this road trip, but I do think they get the job done here at SAP Center. We've had nothing from Ovi 2 games in a row. You ought to think that changes. But this guy, Garnett Hathaway, he's been buried at a good amount as of late. He's got 5 goals in his last 4 games. And we'll get to props here in a second. We got some thoughts for our buddy Jake and Nick here. Hawks are the third leg of that parlay. Hawks, Vegas, and Florida all tie no bet around plus 500-ish. I like it. I think that's actually a really, really good one. 1,000%. Nick, Caps money line. Yeah, plain and simple. Can't pass up on Washington here. Jake's going to pass on this one. I like the Caps, but too many injuries. I'm just going to suggest you bet the Caps anyway. It's not my best bet, but it would probably be my second best bet. Caps are due for a good one here. That's my thoughts on that one. I really like the Caps here. I wanted to bet the puck line, but just because they are not scoring, it does worry me. But Aiden Hill's giving up 3 goals a game here consistently. So, I mean, maybe the Caps explode. It's like a 5-1 game. I'd love to see that. But just the money line straight up, minus 120, I got it at. Head on over here to props. We got quite a lot here. I mean, brace yourself. In the early game here, we got Steven Stamkos, anytime goal scorer, plus 130. 4 goals in his last 5 games. Chugging along here. Try to do this. I didn't write it in order. So Seth Jarvis, that's the other day game. Anytime goal scorer for the Carolina Hurricanes, plus 290. He's got 2 game-winning goals here in his last 2 games for Carolina. He's playing on the top line. Good value here on Jarvis, and he looked really good. I was watching that game against the Ducks, and announcers couldn't stop talking about him. Could not stop talking about him. So give me Seth Jarvis here tonight to continue the nice run he's been on. Continuing in the order of games. Hopefully I don't get off track. Huberdeau's on a 3-game goal streak. I like him to score anytime tonight against Minnesota. I think we see plenty of goals from both sides in that one. I just couldn't find a prop I really like for Minnesota. The point props haven't come out yet, so I only wrote down the ones that I know for sure I'm going to be on. But Huberdeau plus 195 to score a goal. Moving on now to the 6 p.m. games. Gensel, Mr. Saturday Night. This is finally the spot where I'm going to hop back on here. He's on a 3-game goal streak. It's going to be tough to break Jack Campbell, but I think if the Penguins are going to get one, it will be from Jake Gensel, and I'm going to take a stab at it. I believe he was plus 185. I don't know why I don't have it written down here, but yeah, I believe plus 185 is the price on him. Matt Duchene, over half a point. That hasn't come out yet. I haven't seen it yet. I should have looked at the odds before I hopped on air, but that will be on my card. Duchene, over half a point. 8 goals over his last 10 games. I love the spot here versus the Habs. I'll take the over half a point, though, assuming the price is decent, because these over half a point props are just, they're so generous with the points. And I'll get to that with Seth Jones when we get to the Hawks game with this. But yeah, Duchene, I believe, will find the back of the net here. I mean, you could bet him anytime goal scorer if you want. I'm just going to take the safe bet here with over half a point. Oliver Kylington. I don't know if it's Shillington, I believe it's actually pronounced Shillington. But over half a point if they have it. I don't know what books have it, if they will have it, but he's on a nice point streak here as of late. And I've watched these Flames games, and he's looked really good out there. Like starting with that game in Toronto, I was like, dang, okay, who's this guy? And I was figuring out the pronunciation because I was like, oh, it's Kylington. No, it's Shillington. Um, I mean, this is a guy who's probably really in the plus money here if you could find him for over half a point. That's where I find the value on that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get a point either, but I mean, he's been playing really good hockey here as of late. So that Shillington over half a point if you could find it. Um, Now the Hawks game. DeBrincat anytime goal scorer, 7 goals in his last 10 games. He's got goals in back-to-back games here. I love the cat in this one. I think both teams are probably going to get to 3 goals. I mean, Hawks games have been going under, but yeah, this one just has it. I think it definitely does end up going over, even though I'm not going to bet it. So yeah, DeBrincat anytime goal scorer. I think DraftKings doesn't have the lines out for the Hawks games for props. I have no idea why. Maybe my app's just broken, but I haven't seen it whatsoever. But yeah, I'm gonna bet DeBrincat anytime goal scorer. Jones over half a point. This should be a great spot for Jones here to continue just this impressive run. He's only been held scoreless twice, guys. This is like Patrick Kane almost. Like you always hear Pat Foley talking about during the broadcast. Oh, Kane, only the 4th time all year he hasn't found the back of the net, and we've played like 40 games this year. Like Jones, like he's playing at that rate. He's point game after game after game. I mean, and the prices are always so nice. It's always like minus 115 for him to get over half a point. Like I'm just gonna ride that game after game, night after night. I mean, Seth Jones, baby. We're going to take that to the grave. So, yeah, those are the props I like in the Hawks games. Hopefully, DraftKings posts them soon. Maybe they're live now, but yeah, that just seemed kind of lame that they had so many other games, but not the Hawks game. This Vegas game here, Stone over half a point. He has 3 assists in 3 straight games since coming back. Maybe you even take the assist prop. It'll probably be better value. I could see maybe the over half a point starting to get a little juiced for him now just because he's a name player, and that seems to be what happens. But then again, Jones is a name player. I don't know. DraftKings is so weird with the way they price this stuff sometimes. They really are. It drives me nuts. But yeah, 3 straight assists since coming back for Stone. I think he might even get going here the way Columbus is allowing goals. So I like Stone here to record over half a point. They don't have a prop for Paul Cotter at anytime goal scorer. It's always just random people that get involved in the goal scoring in Columbus games, and he's looked good he's every other game. I believe he scored last game, so he wouldn't be due for this game. But I mean, Paul Cotter, I mean, it's a name that struck me here. I mean, he's in my one of my DFS lineups, so I think he was gonna be. I don't know if I put him in there. We'll get to it when we get to it, but yeah, I mean, this would be a guy that's probably like plus 550, 600 to score a goal. But of course, they don't have him in there. It is what it is. But the last prop I like is Garnett Hathaway, plus 450 to score a goal, as I mentioned earlier. 5 goals in his last 4 games. And a lot of against Columbus, against Pittsburgh, and then he had 2 against LA Kings. He had the winning goal and then the empty netter to cap it off. So Hathaway here on a heater. And they're going to get Oshie back, so you'll get more people feeding him the puck and whatnot. That'll be good to have. So yeah, those are the props I like for this one. Go through them again real quick, along with my plays. We'll go through a whole recap here. I like Carolina in regulation. I like Nashville just on the money line, and I like them on the puck line, plus 225. Just an absurd price, if you ask me. Toronto money line is going to be part of a parlay, along with St. Louis plus 1.5. That'll add up to plus 120. I'm on the Hawks to score first, plus 140, and the Hawks in the first period, plus 310. Nothing in Columbus, Vegas, though. I do lean over. It does make sense to bet the over, but I just couldn't muster myself up to do it. And then Caps money line here, minus 120. Prop Stamkos anytime goal scorer, plus 130. Huberdeau anytime goal scorer, plus 195. Gensel, my boy Mr. Saturday Night, plus 185 to score a goal. If you could find Shillington over half a point, I mean, I don't know what the price will be on that, but I'm assuming it'll be very nice. Seth Jarvis plus 290 to score a goal. DeBrincat anytime goal scorer. Again, I haven't found a price on that because DraftKings is weird. Same with Jones for over half a point. Seth Jones. That might be good enough to make the main card, even though it's not going to make the main card. Absurd. I love that. Seth Jones, what a signing. People hated on him. I don't care. Seth Jones has been so good. Mark Stone over half a point. If you could find Paul Cotter anytime goal scorer for Vegas, effing do it. He's probably like plus 600. Duchesne over half a point. I haven't found a price on that yet. I'll look after this. Hathaway score goal for the Caps plus 450. So that's the card for tonight. I like it a lot. I really hope it comes through. I want a night where I just go absolutely off. It would feel so nice. As long as the Hawks, though, like if the Hawks play and hit both bets, I'm gonna be a happy boy. I care less. And the Preds, though, Preds. I'll give you can figure out where my end of the show is gonna go. But yeah, I really am on Preds and Hawks tonight. They'll make me happy boys if those bets win. But we'll move on over to DFS here. I have two lineups for today. One for the early 3 games. DraftKings has it for the 2, 3 o'clock games and the 5 o'clock game. And then one for the normal evening slate. We'll start with the early slate here. Jordan Staal and Steven Stamkos are my centermen. Honestly, I needed a cheap guy, and Jordan Staal ended up being reasonably priced. And the stupidest reason why I put him on here, but I mean, ride with me. When I was watching that Canes-Ducks game, they were advertising Staal and Kopitar as like the guys for the game. So I'm like, all right, Jordan Staal's coming through in this one. Screw it. Good advertising. We're going to ride it. But Stamkos, 4 goals in his last 5 games. I love him. Seth Jarvis, the way he's been playing. Huberdeau, Verhaeghe. Those guys, I mean, those 3 wingers I just mentioned have scored goals in 2 straight games. Huberdeau in 3 straight games. Victor Hedman's just been a beast on the blue line. He's one of my defensemen. I mean, he's up around 20 points night after night. He's the most expensive one, but we can't afford him. Tony DeAngelo, he's been very strong for the Carolina Hurricanes as of late. I do think that they're going to end up getting past. I don't even think LA's confirmed a goalie yet. I might be wrong, but whoever they start in net, Quick or Peterson. I put Vasilevsky in net just because, I mean, I hope the Devils don't upset here, but just looking at the numbers, I mean, the Devils really should put up a fight in this one. So, Vasilevsky. And then Killorn, I mean, this guy's still putting up even strength points like a son of a gun. So, I mean, I don't think he's on a exact like big point streak, but he's putting up points. I mean, like 8 in his last 10 games. And he was cheap too. I think he's like 3,100, maybe 4,100, something like that. So, yeah. Staal, Stamkos, Jarvis, Huberdeau, Verhaeghe, Hedman, DeAngelo, Vasi, and Killorn. That's the early lineup. We'll head on over here to the late lineup. Centerman's Brandon Hagel's back for the Hawks. I think he's going to have a big impact here tonight. I think they're probably going to end up putting him on the top line. I haven't seen anything from Morning Skate yet. But yeah, if he's up there playing with, DeBrincat and Kane or, Doc, whoever it might be, I mean, all those guys are playing real good right now. Strome seems to be happy since he found the back of the net. That made me good to see. So yeah, I like Hagel. He was the cheap option, and he ended up being the centerman, kind of like Staal was. Jamie Benn as well. He was kind of cheap, but I mean, I think that game is going to end up going over the total with St. Louis. And I mean, he's goals in back-to-back games. He's looked really strong here. He gets up for these divisional games. He's probably pissed off as the captain after he getting smoked 7-2 last game. So I like Jamie Benn here to keep going on the run he's been on. The rest of the lineup, I absolutely adore. DeBrincat, Gensel, and Mark Stone are my wingers. I mean, all of the things I mentioned when I talked about props. I mean, all of these guys have been 10-plus fantasy points here consistently over the past week. Seth Jones, I mean, top defenseman here. I mean, he's up around 15, 20 points night after night. I mentioned the point streak that he's been on. Shillington, I did put in the lineup for the Calgary Flames. I mean, he's been getting shots on goal, blocks. I mean, he's been scoring. He's on, at least like a 5-game point streak I mentioned. So Shillington there is a nice cheap defenseman. People aren't catching on to him quite yet. It's looks like it says Kylington though, so don't look for a SCH. It's KYL. You'd be looking for when putting together your lineup. UC Saros is my goalie. I love the matchup here against Montreal. I think he should be able to get the job done here. Matt Duchesne, I think he's going to, even if I didn't bet him to score a goal, but I think he probably will score a goal. He'll definitely get on the score sheet, factor into how the Preds win this game, and that'll transition right into my best bet, which is the Predators money line, -110. If you want to take the puck line, I mean, when Montreal loses, it seems to be quite ugly, and this seems to be a spot without Allen where it could be. So I like the Predators here on the money line, though, -110. We'll play it safe for the best bet. I want to thank Jake and Nick for chiming in here on the chat. I saw some other viewers pop in here. We got up to 5 during the stream. Love to see that. We appreciate everybody who joins us live. Jake will be back with us tomorrow. I'm not sure if we'll be live. I'm sure we'll be live before football because we want to watch football. So, yeah, we'll be live probably 10 a.m. That'll be the deal for that. Again, follow us on Twitter at Royal Bettors, myself at Jarek_Rubo11, Jake at JakeElder19, and follow Nick Earl too, chimes in the chat at I believe it's Earl Betts on Twitter, and he could type it in the chat. It's either Earl Sports Bets. I don't know. I feel like he's had a few accounts, I swear. And then Tim has an account. Throws me off, I swear. I just see the ESB logo. But yeah, give Nick and Tim both a follow there. Oh, and Jake's giving a best bet. He's on Canes and regulation. Yeah, let's ride Canes and reg. I like that a lot. So yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel again if you made it to this point in the video. Thanks for bearing with me here through 35 minutes of this. Hope I had a good job, did a good job here going solo. Sure, as the season goes on, we'll invite people like Nick on, Terry on, friends Melissa. Maybe I'll see if people on the Ice Guys want to join in. That'd be awesome if they end up hopping on. You know, anyone in the chat here want to join in? We'll be talking with everybody here. Give us your 2 cents across the slate in the NHL, no matter what night it is. And yeah, we'll be live tomorrow, 10 a.m. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm kind of rambling here, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Catch some tickets, make some money.